Hi guys, Jace here. I'm here in sunny Rotorua on a Saturday morning, and today I'm going to take you through my thoughts after 6 months of using SRAM's Flight Attendant. Let's get to it. So what is Flight Attendant? As it said, it's SRAM's electronic suspension system. Now it's got no lockout, no levers. It's all done on the wireless access system. So there's a control center attached to the fork up front and a new Flight Attendant race day charger. In the rear, you've got another battery access battery on the SID Deluxe shock. There are 3 settings: open, pedal, or closed on both the shock and the fork. And it basically moves independently between all of those 3 on the fork and the shock to give you a firmer or more relaxed setting. And that's all dependent on your terrain. So if you're going basically like I am now, it's slightly uphill, single track, it's probably on the more firmer side with pedal, because there are a few bumps and I can hear it locking and unlocking now. And if you're going downhill on the slacker stuff like this, then everything will probably be open. There is a split system though, where the fork can be open and the shock locked, which is one of the advantages of this system, and it's really good for climbing uphill. Now the system is paired to your rear derailleur. The shock and forks are paired to each other, and the magic also is that it's paired to your power meter or your pedal sensor. And what happens is that Flight Attendant basically communicates with all of those to give you what setting it should be in. Pedal, lock, unlocked. There are also accelerometers in it, so it can tell if you're leaning the bike or if you're up in the air or going up or downhill, so it can lock or unlock as it may seem fit. And it can basically sense it before you do, and it changes apparently in 5 milliseconds. Pretty quick. SRAM, however, doesn't give away all of its secrets, and they don't let you know exactly how they communicate or what they communicate with, or if even the access dropper works with it. So if you drop the dropper, the suspension will unlock and you go downhill. If you raise the dropper, it may firm up. I haven't got the access dropper on this bike, and I'm not going to until I make a lighter one. Now you have got the Access app, which you can use, and in that there are a lot of settings for it. You can check out your battery levels, and by the way, the batteries last 20 to 30 hours or so, 24 to 30 for the rear shock. And you know, if you've got the drive chain, you'll just pop them all in together, charge them up every couple of weeks, and then that's it. The good thing is, if you do run out of batteries on the Flight Attendant, you can swap them around, and also its default is unlock, so it's just like riding your normal bike. Now the 2 main settings you can look at in the Access app, and that work really well on Flight Attendant, are rider adaptive dynamics and also bias. So with the rider dynamics, basically it learns how you ride. So in theory, Flight Attendant gets better over time, and you know, I think it does. The first couple of times is a bit strange riding it, but when you have 8 rides, that's it, full, it's learnt you, and it continuously takes the previous 8 rides to change your adaptive dynamics. Now there are 4 settings in this, and you can see mine on the screen there, and these change depending on power. So this is all based on your power meter. So of course, if you're sprinting, it will lock out, and if you're going downhill or just going at 100 watts or so, maybe it thinks you're going downhill. But with all the other metrics, it will decide whether to unlock or not. which is pretty amazing. You can turn this on and off if you want, but it is up to you. Now the other one is bias. So you can decide whether to have its bias in a more firmer setting or bias in a slacker setting or a softer setting. It's got 5 biases, 0 is the default. You can go +1 or +2 to make it in a slightly softer setting, so it's more prone or will go into unlocking more often. Or you can change it to -1 or -2 in the app again for the slightly less firm setting. I thought it was going to go for the slightly plusher setting of -1 or -2 because I'm old and my back isn't what it used to be, but I find at the moment 0 seems to be fine. Guess if I'm on a stage race and towards the end of it, and if there's technical stuff, I might change it, just change it up. But you've got that ability. You can also add another controller, a bit like for your dropper on the other side, and then you can override the system and lock out or unlock it as you may see fit. I think over time people will stop doing that. The only time I would probably do that is if I was standing up on rolling single track. So that's Flight Attendant in a nutshell. I think it was a bit longer than I anticipated. But why did I buy it? First of all, why not? Well, why not? Because it's expensive. Yes, it is. But I do ride my bike quite a lot, so I figure, why not? I actually bought it because I thought it would be better for my lower back. I've been standing up on the bike a lot more now, just to ease the back off, or to ease the back off when I'm going uphill before the pain comes on. And I found that is working quite well, just to stop me getting that tightness in the lower back. And also, why not if it's supposed to be more efficient? Now, I've never used really a lockout before, so it is interesting to me. Have I noticed it being more efficient? Well, I noticed it turning on and turning off, and you know, changing, and it does it a hell of a lot. Nino should have found that over a 90-minute cross-country race, over 1,300 times it changed. So imagine trying to lock and unlock that manually at the same time. Also, efficiency-wise, it was over 90 seconds efficiency. So, and that's over an hour and a half, which in World Cup racing is quite a lot. I have done 2 races on it, and it's been great. Have I noticed it being more efficient, or have I noticed my time's been quicker? Not particularly. And why is that? Who knows? Was I less fit? Was I more fitter? I don't know. I guess also, you know, being efficient is not just about time, it's also about burning less calories. So when you're locked out, you can climb uphill without, you know, bouncing up and down too much. And when you're going downhill, it's totally unlocked. So both times you're saving a little bit of energy, hopefully. How have I found riding it? Well, it's been really good. I've had no problems with it. And yes, I can hear it all the time, locking and unlocking. Now, I did have a Christmas away. I hadn't ridden the mountain bike for about 3 weeks or so, so I decided to put some air in the shock and the forks just to make sure that it was fully topped up. And silly me, I went straight for a ride and couldn't work out why Flight Attendant wasn't working. So you have to calibrate it if you put some air into the shocks, which I worked out when I got back home. But it only took, once I watched the video, about a minute to recalibrate it. So I know for next time. I don't think I've ever had it lock when it's supposed to be unlocked. So that's been good. I haven't worried about it going downhill. Basically, I just forget about it after a while. Yes, I can hear the noise, but I forget about it. And it's pretty good. It's very cool tech. I like that it talks to your power meter, talks to your gears, and which gear am I in? Am I going up? Am I going down? And basically thinks for you. See, I'm going uphill now, and it's pretty locked. I can stand up. and it's locked out. Now this stuff, it's really good in changing gear here. I got change now to pedal and lock because I went from down to up and back to pedal. On pedal still. There are no lights on the rear shock. This is a bit more subtle. I can hear it and sometimes feel it when it stiffens up though. Now this is where it'll be interesting to see. It's open. And it's totally locked out, which is what it needed to be. Climbing up here. So good. So it's flight attendant for you. Well, if you got some spare few $1,000s, why not? If you are used to having a lockout, definitely it would be for you. It would save you so much time. If you don't have a lockout, maybe you wouldn't notice it too much. You would lose out on the 1 or 2% efficiency, maybe. And obviously the cool tech. I don't think it is a must-have. I think it's just a nice to have. It's marginal gains basically. And for someone like me, do I need it? No, I'm not fast enough to need it. But I quite like it. So you decide, is it for you? I'll let you decide. It's cool tech. It makes it a little bit more efficient. And you don't have to think about it. Yes, it gives you a couple of more batteries. And it weighs about 100 grams more than the equivalent suspension system. But not much. Well, from sunny Rotorua, that's a wrap. Thanks for watching and give me a thumbs up if you like the content. Hopefully I simplified everything and explained it okay. If not, give me some questions in the comments below.